Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we've got ourselves a pretty interesting video. I not long ago made a video all about the different D-Rex figures that were out. Well, this time we're going to take a look at a different dinosaur from Jurassic World Rebirth, which is also quite popular. It is the Tyrannosaurus, so the T-Rex this time. And I figured I would try to point out every single version of this dinosaur that I have been able to find. Now, there may be others that I, for some reason, have not seen because there was just so much stuff that kind of bombarded us with the release of Rebirth. So it's possible that there's other stuff out there, but I haven't actually seen it yet. So if there is, please let me know because I would love to find out about everything that they have released as far as the Rebirth Tyrannosaurus. But we're going to go ahead and jump into a few that I actually don't have because it's not something I was super interested in, honestly. And they're really quite weird because first of all, we do have this version of a plush figure that's going around. It's actually, again, got the Jurassic World Rebirth tag that you can see there. I think I got this image off of eBay potentially, or maybe AliExpress. I forget exactly, but you can see this is like a green version and everything. It's not really sensible because it absolutely in no way, shape, or form is colored similarly to the way we see it portrayed in Rebirth. There is also other plush figures as well. There is also this one, which is a larger version of the Tyrannosaurus Rex that I actually found at Walmart. I did not purchase it. I did take the image though, but you can see again, not really looking like the Rebirth Tyrannosaurus at all, unfortunately. And then one that I do actually have when it comes to the plush figures is this one. And again, I don't think it really looks much like the Rebirth Tyrannosaurus. It kind of has similar colors, but not really at the same time. But you can very clearly see again, it's not meant to be anything that's super screen accurate. It's just a goofy little, clearly plush figure that's very stylized and just supposed to be kind of adorable. He looks kind of angry. I have done a review on the channel for this, and pretty much every figure that I show you guys today, I think I have a video of, or I have a video already ready to go that will be coming out at some point in the near future. So if there's something that pops up that you haven't seen a review of, definitely let me know if you'd like to see a review of it, and I will, of course, get that review up soon because I have already filmed reviews for plenty of things, just don't have the videos actually up on the channel yet, but still pretty fun for being a plush. There was also lots of movie theater merchandise, which did actually feature Ember, the Tyrannosaurus from Rebirth. First of all, we've got this, which you can see is like a popcorn bucket, I think, and it's clearly got the head of the Tyrannosaurus there popping out of the top. It is actually really cool, and I would love to get this one into my collection, but unfortunately, it is a little bit pricey online and never came to any theaters near me. There are also these, which clearly we can see there is a Mosasaurus in here, but as you can see, though, there are two Tyrannosaurus in here. First of all, we have like a little cup over here. Kind of looks similar to the one we had just taken a look at, but we have the head of the T-Rex up there on the top. And then you also have this other one, which I think is also potentially a popcorn bucket. That's the one that I really want, but again, very expensive. I haven't been able to find one for a decent price quite yet, so may or may not eventually score that one. And there is also this popcorn bucket, which again is the Rebirth T-Rex. You can see the scars and everything on it. It's not really that great, and the paint apps are super lousy on it, but it is a Rebirth Rex, and it is kind of okay. And I have seen some people actually repaint this and making it look pretty good, so it's got potential as far as the sculpt goes for sure. And when it comes to popcorn buckets, there is also this version, which is from Universal, which is apparently a baby T-Rex. And again, the colors and everything are all wrong. I don't think they were implying that this is actually the T-Rex from the film. It's just, got the classic standard Jurassic World T-Rex colors, and it's okay, I guess. And then there is also this one, which is the only Tyrannosaurus cup topper that I actually have for the Rebirth Rex, again for Ember, which is a pretty cool figure. And again, I do have a review up on the channel for this one as well. So if you have not seen that yet, definitely check it out because it's actually pretty fun. There is also this, which is the Gujitsu Tyrannosaurus Rex. And obviously this one is absolutely not modeled after the Rebirth Tyrannosaurus. It's very exaggerated. If you are familiar with the Gujitsu figures, you know that they usually are quite quite exaggerated. From time to time, they do an okay job of kind of capturing the likeness of the dinosaur, again, that they are trying to create. But in this instance, clearly they did not even try when it comes to the T-Rex from the film, as we've got greenish colors and stuff for it. This is another figure that I haven't picked up quite yet, but hopefully will get my hands on at some point in the near future. Then when it comes to Lego, of course there is a Rebirth T-Rex in that line as well. It is part of the River Escape set, and I don't really collect the Lego stuff. I have purchased a few in the past, so this is another one that I don't have, unfortunately, but it looks pretty cool. Again, if you are a Lego collector, I can absolutely see people enjoying this one. You know, it's got a little extra added on with the ATV and stuff, but it does have the raft and everything, so pretty fun set, you know, for Lego collectors, anybody that's into that sort of stuff. The next versions are these. So these are the Captives Tyrannosaurus Rex figures for Jurassic World Rebirth. Now, as you can see, there are two different sizes. You've got the standard size, which apparently is having a little trouble standing right now. There we go. You also have the supersized version, which is this version over here. This version is only in the supersized egg. You can get this version in a standalone release, of course, in the mystery egg, so you don't really have any way to truly tell what figure you are getting. You can also get this one in the Dino-Rama set that they have out, which is kind of like a little rectangular cage, and then you open it up and it creates a little diorama with, you know, the Tyrannosaurus Rex and stuff. So a few different ways to get these. The color schemes on these guys aren't really that great. You know, now having actually seen Rebirth, I can see that they were kind of going for like their best version of the T-Rex and didn't really succeed too well. Normally the paint apps for the Captives line is pretty good, and these figures, again, sculpt-wise are pretty nice. You can obviously tell that they didn't give them new sculpts. It's just the same sculpts that we had prior when it comes to the Tyrannosaurus in the Captives line. Except for maybe I think the head sculpt is actually different. So it is like the same body. I think maybe the head sculpt is different. It kind of looks like we actually have the injury here in the like gum line here, like the jaw line that we definitely didn't have on the older ones. So maybe the head sculpt itself is new. This kind of looks like the same head sculpt though that we had on the T-Rex prior. But either way, definitely, again, not the greatest. It's not one of the highest quality versions of the T-Rex from Rebirth that has come out so far, but they're still pretty fun. When it comes to smaller versions, we've also got the Mattel minifigure T-Rex, and you can see when it comes to Mattel, they really went all out when it comes to the Rebirth Rex. The only problem is, when it comes to the Rebirth Rex, the majority of the Mattel versions have like the wrong coloration, because we have like a grayish color, and the dino in the film is actually more of like a brown. But it is what it is, and again, as far as like the sculpt goes, it's probably one of the best sculpted Mattel mini Tyrannosaurs that we've had so far. So really cool figure. You can get this one in a few different sets. It is a part of the Advent calendar, as well as that multi minifigure set that had recently actually gone up on Target to purchase. So, you know, a few different ways. I haven't seen it actually released in an individual release like in the mainline minis yet, but hopefully that's to come at some point soon. There is also this one, which is the Takara Tomy version of the Rebirth T-Rex. Again, sculpt-wise, it's pretty decent. I think like they really captured the overall kind of like bulkiness of the T-Rex and everything, but you know, something that's quite common with Takara Tomy is they usually follow, for some reason, like the trend of the color schemes of the Mattel figures. However, on top of that, I just feel like in general, like the coloration of Ember may have been different at one point, because a lot of the images that you see and a lot of the figures that have come out sport this color scheme, but in the actual film, again, it ends up with a brownish color scheme. But like you even see renders and everything that we've seen of the T-Rex in a color scheme more closely resembling this. So I don't know, but you can see, again, it is a pretty cool version with quite a bit of articulation of Ember from, again, Jurassic World Rebirth. The next version that I have is this one, which is the Planosaurus version from Bandai. Sculpt-wise, if you take all the stickers off, it's probably one of the nicest looking versions of the T-Rex that we've had so far. Unfortunately, when it comes to the Bandais, and of course specifically the Planosaurus figures, once you actually add the stickers onto them, they sometimes look hideous, and you can absolutely see that is exactly the case with this version. The stickers really take away a lot from this figure, and it could have been so much nicer, but the stickers just really drown out the detail and just make it look really cheap. And I know that this is kind of like a thing that's popular in certain countries, you know, to have figures like this, and obviously this isn't specifically made for like high quality adult collectors, so like I get everything that goes into the creation of these figures and why they look the way they look and everything, but it's just, you know, very cheap looking when it comes to the stickers. If you are buying this to repaint, I definitely recommend it because it is a pretty cool version of the T-Rex, but if you're buying it to, you know, just have it look like this, there are some significantly better options out there. However, one version that is definitely not better as far as capturing the likeness of the Rebirth T-Rex is this one. This is actually an Imaginext T-Rex. It is a release in the Jurassic World Rebirth line. Again, it's not necessarily something that I can say was them trying to capture the look and feel of Ember. From the film, it's just a T-Rex released under the Rebirth name, so I of course have to include it. It is a figure that I really actually like. As far as like Imaginext figures go, it's really fun because it has like that vintage old school look to it, and I have filmed a review for this guy that's going to come soon. But there is actually also another Imaginext T-Rex that had come out for Rebirth. I don't have it. I didn't purchase it quite yet. I will tell you it is absolutely huge, but you can see what it looks like right here. This is basically a gigantic T-Rex that, again, doesn't really look like Ember, but it is what it is. You know, when the Imaginext figures come out, I never expect them to look exactly as they look on screen. They're usually very childish and goofy looking, especially considering the age range that they are aimed at. They're not meant to be exactly screen accurate, but obviously a few different versions of the T-Rex in the Imaginext line for Rebirth. We've also got some other Tyrannosaurus figures out, one of which is this. This is the version from Sega of the Jurassic World Rebirth T-Rex, again sporting that more grayish color scheme, so again not exactly what I would say is screen accurate, but the sculpt is phenomenal outside of the short tail. I know the film does kind of portray the T-Rex with what I feel like has a little bit of a shorter than average tail, but the tail on this one is definitely a little bit too short, even when it comes to the Rebirth version if you ask me, but it is still an incredibly well sculpted figure, very impressive fine detail, decent paint apps, a little inconsistent from one side to the other when it comes to the paintwork of the face, but still a pretty cool version. There's also what I feel like is one of the best versions out there. That is this one, which is the Furu version of the Rebirth T-Rex, and this thing, sculpt-wise, is gorgeous. You can see it absolutely sports some really impressive fine detail. It doesn't have, again, the most screen-accurate paint job, but I feel like the tones of color are definitely closer on this one than a lot of the others that we've seen. You know, a lot of the more grayish versions that we've seen. You can see when it comes to screen accuracy, I feel like they absolutely knocked this one out of the park, you know, even capturing those injuries on the face and everything. Has a really nice action pose. It is a little hard to get here in the United States, so you'll have to resort to places like eBay and everything to find this one. Same deal with that Sega Rex we had just taken a look at, and unfortunately for this one, it does tend to be a little bit pricey, but again, if you can find a decent deal on it, I highly recommend this version because it is very, very nice looking in hand. We've also got this one, which is the basic version, the 12-inch basic from Mattel, and this one's a very mixed bag for me because it does have some pretty decent, pretty impressive fine detail. It's definitely a newer sculpt from Mattel and does an okay job in certain aspects of kind of replicating the Rebirth Rex, but it's also super flat, super awkward looking. Something they've been doing with the basics a lot over the last few years is kind of like pancaking the figures and making them look kind of strange. It does still sport some pretty impressive fine detail that my camera didn't want to focus on, and could be a fun one to repaint, but it also has very weird kind of wonky proportions, so it unfortunately has that going for it, but it's not the end of the world. Overall, it's an okay version of the Rebirth Rex that honestly is just screaming for a repaint. We do also have the laziest version that Mattel had released as far as the Rebirth T-Rex goes, which is the Sound Surge edition, and you can see this one is super lazy lazy because not only do we have, again, the most basic of paint jobs, which is very common for the Sound Surge figures, it also still has the older sculpt. This in no way, shape, or form was updated to reflect the look of the Rebirth T-Rex, so it is very lazy in the grand scheme of things. If anything, they should have taken that basic version we had just taken a look at and, you know, rearranged it to incorporate the, like, mechanics to make it roar and everything, and just give it that more newly updated sculpt, which is, again, significantly nicer than what we see on this. This is very much so like a Rexy T-Rex, and just kind of given sort of the Rebirth colors and then thrown in a Rebirth box. So nothing super special with this, and definitely the least recommended figure from me when it comes to the Rebirth Tyrannosaurus from Mattel. We actually also have this, which doesn't really fit into screen all that well. Yeah, it kind of does. This is actually an RC, a remote-controlled version of the Rebirth T-Rex. This is from HappyNet. It's not something that I see often online either. I did purchase this one on Amazon.com and paid a little bit more than I'm proud to mention for it because it's not something that I could really find anywhere else, and I didn't want to miss it if it became hard to find later on. I have a feeling at some point it's going to become really cheap and easy to find, but who knows if that'll happen or not. But obviously it's not the greatest version either. It does have that grayish color scheme to it, and it's okay for what it is, but again, probably one of the more lackluster versions of this T-Rex out there. There is also this version from Mattel. This is part of the micro playset, and obviously you can see you've got a massive version of the head here of the Rebirth Rex. Again, proportion-wise, not really all that great. They kind of squished him and everything and made him look very, like, oddly wide and awkward looking. But what's fun is, of course, once you open it up, you do also have a little micro version of the Rebirth T-Rex. You can see, obviously, again, not the greatest version out there, but still pretty fun for what it is. And I personally really quite like these micro play sets. I think they're really fun, and I'm hoping to see more from Mattel at some point in the near future. As far as the Takara Tomy figures go, there is also another version, which is this one, which is a really chubby version of the Rebirth T-Rex. As you can see, it's extremely overweight, but not really meant to be taken seriously. It's just a very silly-looking version of the T-Rex, and if you are into the more exaggerated kind of goofy versions, this isn't a half-bad way to go. There is also actually another version coming out from them, which is this one, which you can see comes. It's like one of those like capsule figures, and there's 3 figures in the set, one of which again being the Rebirth T-Rex. I don't have in my hands or anything quite yet, but a review will be coming for that one at some point very soon. There is also a Mighty Little Biters version of the Rebirth T-Rex. It's unfortunately not actually labeled as the Rebirth T-Rex, like it doesn't have Jurassic World Rebirth's logo on the release, but it definitely is in fact that T-Rex because you could tell just by the color scheme. So you do have that kind of goofy, exaggerated version as well. Another super fun version of the Rebirth Rex that is out is this one. This is actually the Cretaceous Creations version of the T-Rex, a very chibi style overall version of this Rex, and you can see it looks pretty cool. It's again not meant to be super screen accurate as far as the proportions or anything goes. It's meant to be very exaggerated and everything, but I think it looks very cool. Definitely one of the coolest versions of this T-Rex that you can acquire right now, and also quite cheap. That's one of the really cool things about these Cretaceous Creation figures is, on top of being like, you know, handmade figures specifically by them, by the artist, it's also really quite cheap, which is really impressive considering everything that, you know, goes into creating one of these. Not an official release, but still a really cool one. Then when it comes to more high-end collectibles of the Rebirth T-Rex, you do have this version of the river raft scene from Iron Studios. It basically shows the T-Rex kind of like lunging up out of the water and attacking the raft and everything. It is absolutely phenomenal as far as the sculpt goes. The paint also looks really good here on the prototype, but I never truly trust the paintwork of the prototypes of Iron Studios releases because more often than not, the actual factory product never lives up to what you see on the prototypes, but it does look really cool for sure when it comes to the promo images that we have of this release. You you can still, I believe, pre-order this one on Entertainment Earth as well as Big Bad Toy Store and probably Sideshow as well. Then you have what is probably the absolute best and most perfect looking version of this T-Rex anywhere, which unfortunately is extremely expensive, but it's also extremely huge. It's the Prime 1 version. It is in 1/6 scale, so it is gigantic. However, it is like well over $2,000 to purchase this one, heading toward $3,000 probably once shipping is added in and taxes and everything. So it's a hefty price tag if you want to get it, but it is by far one of the most incredible Tyrannosaurus statues I've ever seen, and the single best version of this T-Rex that is out there anywhere, in my personal opinion. Of course, not everybody might share that sentiment, but man, is that thing ever incredible, and I would love to have that T-Rex, but far out of my price range, sadly. Again, this is something that I do believe you can still pre-order. I don't know for how long, but if you are interested, check, Entertainment Earth, Big Bad Toy Store, or even the Prime 1 website, Sideshow, all of those places, and hopefully you can still find one to pre-order. And then we are down to the final three, and here is the largest one that I have, the largest one that is quite easily and quite readily available. This is the super colossal version of the Jurassic World Rebirth T-Rex from Mattel, and it is incredible. By far, in my opinion, the best super colossal Tyrannosaurus to come from Mattel. Sculpt-wise, it is beyond incredible in person. Definitely one that I am planning on repainting. I've already purchased a second, and considering this thing was like retailing for right around like $50 at Walmart, it's a steal for a sculpt and a T-Rex in general as absolutely epic as this one. Then second to last, we have this, which is the smaller version, basically, of the Super Colossal. This is the Power Devour T-Rex from Mattel, which is basically the same exact sculpt as the Super Colossal version, even the same paint apps overall for the most part, just with action features and at a much smaller size. But again, equally as incredible as the Super Colossal version. I just love everything about these newer Mattel T-Rex figures. They are by far, in my opinion, the best Tyrannosaurs that Mattel has ever released. And when it comes to the actual best Mattel Tyrannosaurus probably ever, in many people's opinion, including mine, it is this one, which is the Lab Lockdown T-Rex, and look at how gorgeous this thing is. It is such a masterpiece, if you ask me. Every single time I see one in store, I'm so tempted to buy it again just because it is so darn good, and I want like an unlimited amount in my collection, so I never lose this T-Rex. Again, it is super screen accurate in my opinion as far as the appearance goes, from what we've seen in Rebirth. It's also much better as far as the paint apps go, closer to what you see actually on screen compared to the other ones. And again, no silly crazy action features for the most part. Like, you do have a little button up here to again kind of activate like a chomping feature and stuff, but like it's not all that bad as far as the action feature goes, and again is easily, in my opinion, the best T-Rex that Mattel has ever produced. So there are plenty of options out there as far as, different figures you can acquire for this T-Rex. As I've already pointed out so many to you guys, hopefully you have some. If not, check out the reviews here on the channel for any of the ones that I did actually show off here, in hand in my collection, because they are all really beautiful figures for the most part, except for like the Sound Surge and stuff, and definitely worth a look as far as the reviews go. So you can check out all of those reviews in the Jurassic World Rebirth playlist. If there are any out there as far as this T-Rex goes that I might have missed, please let me know, because I would love to know of any others that I may not have found so far. And of course, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.